Next question. What was a light bulb moment for you that had the greatest impact on the success of your operation? Let's start with Gene.
I've actually got a number of small light bulb moments, but one of them is chargebacks. If you're not doing chargebacks, I think that is the number one key. It basically, it puts the cost with the user, so your costs are no longer out of control, and it controls waste. So if there's no cost, then there tends to be a lot of waste. And I've seen that both with printing services and then instituting a chargeback for postal services. Suddenly everybody cares about postage. It's one of the best things we ever did. And then it also, if you're charging them and they see what they're going to pay for your job, it helps set what your value, how you compare with the outside world and your value. The next thing is the online order entry system, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But when you have a good online order system, it allows you to focus on your customers and spending more time hand-holding versus moving pieces of paper around. Our system is, if they can do Amazon.com, they can order forms from us. So it's that simple. The other thing is, I really advise you to run lean. I think we're lean running. With the growth rate we've had, like in printing services, we've had that 100-odd% growth or whatever. We've only added one part-time FTE in print services. And that's the way you protect yourself from the outsourcing world. Because basically they come and they cut heads. That's one of the things they can do, they can bring to the table. Like printing service, for many years I ran with 2.9 people. When outsourcing firms would come in, they had no traction. I mean, they said, we don't even know how you run it with 2.9 and service this whole organization. And tied with that, I use, unlike most of our division, I use part-time people a lot. I find that, first of all, you got the advantage when things get busy, you can run them extra hours, you don't get into overtime. And you also often get a very high quality, a person that's looking for that high part-time job to meet their needs in life, and far superior than you would expect for the time and the money that we pay them. And then the other thing when we're talking about successes, I always try to, if possible, always do one really big project per year, or a big success, a big savings. For our organization, that means somewhere in the range of $200,000 to $300,000 is what we would consider a big single success. So every year we do that, and then I surround that with smaller. We track every success that we have financially, and they can range from $100. They could be $50,000, and then we try to have one really big one that gets us on the dockets, basically at some of the meetings.
Debbie.
Well, I had a personal light bulb moment when I started working at publishing and distribution, and that was the idea that you could take digital printing and variable data and combine that with automated mailing, intelligent inserting and mailing, commingling mail, to make life easier for state agencies. And it was association from people hearing about late night stuffing parties, doing all this work by hand, that made me realize that with technology you really could make life easier. Variable data, and as it relates to the mailing piece, not alone to the personalization aspect, really contributed to the savings on the back end. And I think in the printing world, a lot of times people don't consider how they're going to get the piece to the end user, so they're always focusing on the front end, on the printing, all that. And if it's something that's got to be mailed, they haven't really thought about that. Knowing those postage regulations and how to do the post office's work for them is going to save them a ton. So we integrate that, so it saves people a lot of money. So for me, it was just really realizing how to to integrate those pieces, and then making people happy about that too. So.
Thanks. Jimmy?
Okay, for me at the university, and again, back in 1994-95, we were not considered much of a positive service to the university as a whole. So we heard about a recruiting fulfillment center going to be outsourced off campus. So when we heard about that, we had some experience there, and we decided to pull together a plan that we could do this service there at the university just as good as anybody else out in the Dallas-Fort Worth areas where they were soliciting bids. And we pulled a plan together, and everything worked out for us, and now we do the recruiting fulfillment. So that was a big light bulb moment for us. We knew if we could get in with that. Now we're not printers, now we're not mailers, or we are printers and mailers, but we're also recruiters. And our number one strategic goal at the university, and most universities, are going to be recruiting. So now we're part of that fabric of the university. We're sewn into that fabric of the university on that side of it. We're just not a service provider. We're recruiters as well. And it was big. Now, I have a second light bulb moment that deals with this as well. In 2002, or actually in 2001, I went to a conference and heard some discussion about variable data and HP Indigo machine at that time. And I thought, my goodness, that would work real well in that recruiting area. And so we went back and started doing our research and pulled those things together, and pulled some numbers together, talked to admissions, talked to enrollment marketing to make certain this is something that would be a good solution for us in the direction they would like to go. And we were able to purchase our first HP Indigo in 2002, and to really help out with the recruiting efforts. So that technology at that time just helped us automate print on demand. We have about 230 brochures that we produce on campus. About 205 of those are print on demand brochures where the files are archived on the Indigo. We print them as we need them. They're distributed as they're ordered or as the requests come in. So that was a second light bulb moment. Again, all of it had to do for us at the university from a recruiting standpoint, and knowing the number one strategy of the university is recruiting. So that was our light bulb moments.
And finally, Phil.
Two light bulb moments for me. One of them is and I traditionally came out of IT and had worked in several different organizations, was in insurance, and they gave me the transactional print. We were doing no marketing print whatsoever really at that point, some training materials and the transactional. It was broken, and I was working on it, trying to figure it out, going, how did I inherit this thing? I had enough problems before this day. And the thought came to me that I have the opportunity with this component to be a business within the business. When Gene was talking about chargeback, we charge back by the click, by every single thing we do. But I had the opportunity that I never had before to build a business within the business. And then we began approaching it. Well, how would you build a business? What would you do with your marketing? What would you do with risk acceptance? What would you do with all of the different components of a business? What a fun opportunity. And we began approaching it that way. And it just really changed everything we did going forward. And I kind of forgot that I had the IT for a while. I still have that department over there that's running 24 hours a day. It became fun building something new as a business. And it really did, and still is, very much fun. And then the second light bulb moment, and this one was really, really painful. Right? Painful light bulb moment. It's a good choice to let your customers inside your business. That was painful. I never wanted to do that. I never wanted my customers to get inside and understand how I ran my business. And I resisted it until we got into a lean initiative, which was very bloody and very hard and very messy. and incredibly building on the outside, because we gained insight into our customers. They let us into their business also. So if I let them into my business, they began to let me into their business, and once we got into their business, we found ways to integrate into their processes and become very sticky, so they couldn't do their business without us, and we couldn't do our business without them. And that was a painful light bulb moment that I'm grateful for today, but was not so grateful for at the time that